Hello, Brobs. We're back with Donna Tartt's The Little Friend. And a little friend of my own called Pumpkin Bear. The Little Friend number 5 it shall be. I believe 9 pages. Control, copy. Hey. Let's add this on there, the title. Sure, there's an easier way to do this. Just like there's an easier way to put these books away and not prop a computer on top of them, but what do you want me to do? What do you want? What do you want from me? What do you got? What do you got? Little friend. All right, we shall pop out the screen so we can see the chat and get ready to commence with this 5th rendering. Turn down the volume so I get no feedback. Audioly. Wow. Wait for the chat to pop up. There we go, Brabs. We're there with Donna Tartt. Although I don't see the video playing at all. Are you playing? There it is. See how far behind I am. It's not. No, we're behind. We're behind here, bruv. Let me refresh the page. Anyway, while the page refreshes, I shall start this chapter, or this section. This is from The Dead Cat. She'd had, from the time she was small, a preoccupation with archaeology, with Indian mounds, ruined cities, buried things. This had begun with an interest in dinosaurs, which had turned into something else. What interested Harriet, it became apparent as soon as she was old enough to articulate it. Let me take off the jacket so I can place it up on a little thing. And then if someone says, hey, we shall have it on the side.
And that's what book's reading, buddy.
All right. What interested Harriet, it became apparent as soon as she was old enough to articulate it, were not the dinosaurs themselves, the long-lashed brontosauruses of Saturday cartoons, who allowed themselves to be ridden or meekly bent their necks as a playground slide for children, nor even the screaming Tyrannosaurus, the tyrannosaurs and pterodactyls of nightmare. What interested her was that they no longer existed. But how do we know, she had asked Edie, who was sick of the word dinosaur, what they really look like? Because people found their bones. But if I found your bones, Edie, I wouldn't know what you look like. Edie, busy peeling peaches, offered no reply. Look here, Edie. Look. It says here they only found the leg bone. She clambered up on a stool and with one hand, hopefully, proffered the book. And here's a picture of the whole dinosaur. Don't you know that song, Harriet? Interrupted Libby, leaning over from the kitchen counter where she was pitting peaches. In her quavery voice, she sang, the knee bone's connected to the leg bone's connected to the... But how do they know what it looked like? How do they know it was green? They made it green in the picture. Look, Edie. I'm looking, said Edie sourly, though she wasn't. No, you're not. I've seen all of it I care to. When Harriet got a little older, 9 or 10, the fixation switched to archaeology. In this, she found a willing, if addled, discussion partner in her aunt, Tat. Tat had taught Latin for 30 years at the local high school. In retirement, She had developed an interest in various riddles of the ancients, many of which she believed hinged on Atlantis. The Atlanteans, she explained, had built the pyramids and the monoliths of Easter Island. Atlantean wisdom accounted for trepanned skulls found in the Andes and modern electrical batteries discovered in the tombs of the pharaohs. Her bookshelves were filled with pseudo-scholarly popular works from the 1890s, which she had inherited from her educated but credulous father, a distinguished judge who had spent his final years attempting to escape from a locked bedroom in his pajamas. His library, which he had left to his next to youngest daughter, Theodora, nicknamed by him Tatty Coram, Tat for short, included such works as The Antediluvian Controversy, Other Worlds Than Ours, and Moo, Fact or Fiction. Tat's sisters did not encourage this line of inquiry, Adelaide and Libby thinking it unchristian, Edie merely foolish. But if there was such a thing as Atlanta, said Libby, her innocent brow furrowed, why isn't it mentioned in the Bible? Because it wasn't built yet, said Edie rather cruelly. Atlanta is the capital of Georgia. Sherman burnt it in the Civil War. Oh, Edith, don't be hateful. The Atlanteans, said Tat, were the ancestors of the ancient Egyptians. Well, there you go. The ancient Egyptians weren't Christians, said Adelaide. They worshipped cats and dogs and that kind of thing. They couldn't have been Christian, Adelaide. Christ wasn't born yet. Maybe not, but Moses and all of them at least followed the 10 Commandments. They weren't out there worshipping cats and dogs. Atlanteans, Tat said haughtily over the laughter of her sisters, Atlanteans knew many things that modern scientists would be glad to get their hands on today. Daddy knew about Atlantis, and he was a good Christian man and had more education than all of us here in the room put together. Daddy, Edie muttered. Daddy used to get me out of bed in the night saying Kaiser Wilhelm was coming and to hide the silver down the well. Edith, that's not right. He was sick then, and how good he was to all of us. I'm not saying Daddy wasn't a good man, Taddy. I'm just saying I was the one who had to take care of him. Daddy always knew me, said Adelaide eagerly, who being the youngest and she believed her father's favorite never missed an opportunity to remind her sisters of this. He remembered me right up until the end. The day he died, he took my hand and he said, Addie, honey, what have they done to me? I don't know why in the world I was the only one he recognized. It was the funniest thing. Harriet enjoyed very much looking at Tat's books, which included, and let me turn on this, which included not only the Atlantis volumes, but more established works, such as Gibbon and Ridpath's History, as well as a number of paperback romances set in ancient times with colored pictures of gladiators on the covers. Of course, these are not historical works, explained Tat. They are just light novels with historical backdrops, but they are very entertaining books and educational too. I used to give them to the children down at the high school to try to get them interested in Roman times. You probably couldn't do that anymore with the kind of books they all write nowadays, but these are clean little novels, not the kind of trash they have now. She ran a bony forefinger, big-knuckled with arthritis, down the row of identical spines. H. Montgomery Storm. I think he used to write novels about the Regency period as well, under a woman's name, but I can't remember what it was. Harriet was not at all interested in the gladiator novels. They were only love stories in Roman dress, and she disliked anything which had to do with love or romance. Her favorite of Tat's books was a large volume called Pompeii and Herculaneum, The Forgotten Cities, illustrated with color plates. Tat was happy enough to look at this with Harriet, too. They sat on Tat's velveteen sofa and turned the pages together, past delicate murals from ruined villas, past bakers' stalls preserved perfectly, bread and all, beneath 15 feet of ash, past the faceless gray plaster casts of dead Romans still twisted in the same eloquent postures of anguish in which they had fallen 2,000 years ago beneath the rain of cinders on the cobblestones. I don't see why those poor people didn't have the sense to leave earlier, said Tat. I guess they didn't know what a volcano was in those days. Also, I suppose it was a little like when Hurricane Camille blew in on the Gulf Coast. There were a lot of foolish people who wouldn't leave when the city was evacuated and sat around drinking at the Buena Vista Hotel like it was some kind of a big party. Well, let me tell you, Harriet, they were 3 weeks picking those bodies out of the treetops after the water went down. And not one brick from the Buena Vista left on top of another brick. You wouldn't remember the Buena Vista, darling. They had angelfish painted on the water glasses. She turned the page. Look, you see this cast of the little dog that died? He's still got a biscuit in his mouth. Somewhere, I read a lovely story that somebody wrote about this very dog. In the story, the dog belonged to a little Pompeian beggar boy that it loved, and it died trying to fetch food out of Pompeii. Oh, wait, food for him so he would have something to eat on the journey out of Pompeii. Isn't that sad? Of course, nobody knows that for sure, but it's probably pretty close to the truth, don't you think? Maybe the dog wanted the biscuit for itself. I doubt it. You know that food was probably the last thing on the poor thing's mind with all those people running around screaming and ashes falling everywhere. Though Tartt shared Harriet's interest in the buried city from a human interest perspective, yeah, this is the Bible. This is the Bible of your life. It's called The Little Friend by Donna Tartt, her second novel. We ain't reading anything. I'm reading. And you're listening, damn it. Now, where was I? Though Tartt shared Harriet's interest in the buried city from a human interest perspective, she did not understand why Harriet's fascination extended to even the lowliest and least dramatic aspects of ruin. Broken utensils, drab pot shards, corroded hunks of undistinguished metal. Be nice or we leave. All right, I don't really give a shit, honestly. Certainly, she did not realize that Harriet's obsession with fragments had to do with her family's history. The Cleaves, like most old families in Mississippi, had once been richer than they were. As with vanished Pompeii, only traces of these riches remained, and they liked to tell among themselves stories of their lost fortune. Some of them were true. The Yankees had indeed stolen some of the Cleaves' jewelry and silver, though not the vast treasures the sisters sighed for. Judge Cleave had come badly out of the crash of 1929. I'm from Sippamimi, and he had made in his senility some disastrous investments, most notably plunging the bulk of his savings into a crackpot scheme to develop the car of the future, an automobile that flew. The judge, it was discovered by his dismayed daughters after his death, was one of the defunct company's primary stockholders. Lots of dead cats everywhere. It's true, bruv. The dead cat, bruv. So the big house, which had been in the Cleave family ever since it was built in 1809, had to be sold in a hurry to pay off the judge's debts. The sisters still mourn this. They had grown up there. Yeah, this is all about Elon Musk's early life in Georgia. There, as had the judge himself and the judge's mother and grandparents. Worse, the person they had sold it to turned right around and sold it to someone else who turned it into a retirement home. And then when the retirement home lost its license into welfare apartments, 3 years after Robin's death, it had burned to the ground. It survived the Civil War, said Edie bitterly, but the still got it at the end. Still got it in the end. Actually, it was Judge Cleave who had destroyed the house, not the He had no repairs, and in case you need to know why I'm going there's why, so I don't get banned. He had no repairs done on it for nearly 70 years, nor had his mother for 40 years before. By the time he died, the floors were rotten, the foundations were soft with termites, the entire structure was on the verge of collapse, but still the sisters spoke lovingly of the hand-painted wallpaper, eggshell blue with cabbage roses, which had been sent from France, the marble mantelpieces carved with seraphim, and the hand-strung chandeliers of Bohemian crystal. The twin staircases designed especially to accommodate mixed house parties, one for the boys, another for the girls, and a wall dividing the upper story of the house in half so that mischievous boys were not able to steal over to the girls' quarters in the middle of the night. They had mostly forgotten that by the time of the judge's death, the boys' staircase on the north side had seen no parties for 50 years and was so rickety as to be unstable. That the dining room had been burned nearly hollow by the senile judge is an accident with a paraffin lamp. That the floor sagged, that the roof leaked, that the steps to the back porch had collapsed to splinters in 1947 beneath the weight of a man from the gas company who had come to read the meter, and that the famous hand-painted wallpaper was peeling from the plaster in great mildewed scallops. The house, amusingly, had been called Tribulation. Judge Cleave's grandfather had named it that because he claimed that the building of it had very nearly killed him. Nothing remained of it but the twin chimneys and the mossy brick walk. The bricks worked in a tricky herringbone pattern leading from the foundation down to the front steps, where 5 cracked tiles on the riser, in faded Delft blue, spelled the letters Cleave. To Harriet, these 5 Dutch tiles were a more fascinating relic of a lost civilization than any dead dog with a biscuit in its mouth. To her, their fine, watery blue was the blue of wealth, of memory, of Europe, of heaven, and the tribulation she deduced from them glowed with the phosphorescence and splendor of dream itself. In her mind, her dead brother moved like a prince to the rooms of this lost palace. The house had been sold when she was only 6 weeks old. When she was 6 weeks old, but Robin had slid down the mahogany banisters. All right, no, we lost it. Come on. Bring it back. I've lost. There we go. Adelaide. What the fuck? But Robin had slid down the mahogany banisters once. Adelaide told her, nearly crashing through the glass front china cabinet at the bottom, and played dominoes on the Persian carpet while the Marbet seraphim watched over him. Wings unfurled with sky-heavy lidded eyes. He had fallen asleep at the feet of the bear his great uncle had shot and stuffed, and he had seen the arrow tipped with faded jay feathers, which a Natchez Indian had shot at his great-great-grandfather during a dawn raid in 1812, and which had remained embedded in the parlor wall in the very spot where it had struck. Stick being pricked. Apart from the Dutch tiles, few concrete artifacts of tribulation remained. Most of the rugs and furniture and all of the fixtures, the marble seraphim, the chandelier, had been carted off in crates marked miscellaneous and sold to an antiques dealer in Greenwood who'd paid only half what they were worth. The famous arrow shaft had crumbled in Edie's hands when Edie attempted to pull it out of the wall on moving day, and the tiny arrowhead had refused all efforts to be dug out of the plaster with a putty knife. And the stuffed bear, eaten by moths, went to the dust heap, where some Negro children, delighted, had rescued it, dragging it home by the legs through the mud. How then to reconstruct this extinct colossus? What fossils were left? What clues had she to go on? The foundation was still there, out from town a bit, but wasn't sure exactly where, and somehow it didn't matter. Only once on a winter afternoon long ago had she been taken out to see it. To a small child, it gave the impression of having supported a structure far larger than a house, a city almost. She had a memory of Edie, tomboyish in khaki trousers, jumping excitedly from room to room, her breath coming out white clouds, pointing out the parlor, the dining room, the library, though all this was hazy compared with the dreadful, dreadful memory of Libby in her red car coat, bursting into tears, putting out her gloved hand and allowing Edie to lead her through crunchy winter woods back to the car. Harriet trailing behind. Mullen Street. It's from a Morrissey song, so it's a double. It's on entendre. It's an entendre, not a fucking tundra. Women only like me for my mind. Right. I mean, no one likes people that listen to Morrissey. Not even Morrissey. He hates you the most. A scattering of lesser artifacts had been salvaged from tribulation. Linens, monogram dishes, a ponderous rosewood sideboard, vases or is it vases, china clocks, dining room chairs broadcast through her own house and the houses of her aunts. Random fragments, a leg bone here, a vertebrae there, from which Harriet set about reconstructing the burned magnificence she had never seen. And these rescued articles beamed warmly with a serene old light, all their own. The silver was heavier, the embroideries richer, the crystal more delicate, and the porcelain a finer, rarer blue. But most eloquent of all were the stories passed down to her, highly decorated items which Harriet embellished even further in her resolute myth of the enchanted Alcazar, the fairy chateau that never was. She possessed to a singular and uncomfortable degree the narrowness of vision, which enabled all the Cleves to forget what they didn't want to remember, and to exaggerate or otherwise alter what they couldn't forget. And in restraining the skeleton of the extinct monstrosity which had been her family's fortune, she was unaware that some of the bones had been tampered with, that others belonged to different animals entirely, that a great many of the more massive and spectacular bones were not bones at all, but plaster of Paris forgeries. The famous Bohemian chandelier, for instance, had not come from Bohemia at all. At all. It was not even made of crystal. The judge's mother had ordered it from Montgomery Ward. Least of all did she realize that constantly in the course of her labors, she trod back and forth on certain humble, dusty fragments, which, had she bothered to examine them, afforded the true and rather disappointing key to the entire structure. The mighty, thundering, opulent tribulation which she had so laboriously reconstructed in her mind was not a replica of any house which had ever existed, but a chimera, a fairy tale. My YouTube English teacher. Women only like me for, so this is what you do after work. No, this is what I am. This is my work, buddy. I get paid $17 million a page. Harriet spent entire days studying the old photograph album at Edie's house, which, a far cry from tribulation, was a 2-bedroom bungalow built in the 1940s. There was thin, shy Libby, hair scraped back, looking colorless and spinsterly, even at 18. There was something of Harriet's mother and of Allison about her mouth and eyes. Next, scornful Edie, 9 years old, brow like a thundercloud, her expression a small replica of her father. The judge who frowned behind her, a strange moon-faced tat, sprawled in a wicker chair, the blurred shadow of a kitten in her lap, unrecognizable. Baby Adelaide, who would outlive 3 husbands, laughing at the camera. She was the prettiest of the 4, and there was something about her, too, which reminded one of Allison, but something petulant was already gathering at the corners of her mouth. On the steps of the doomed house, towering behind them, were the Dutch tiles reading Cleve, only just detectable, and only then if you were looking hard. But they were the only thing in the photograph which remained unchanged. Right. The photographs Harriet loved most were those with her brother in them. I mean, let's be honest. You're watching it, so I mean, these kind of books are all fluffy, not much of a story. Yeah, no shit. The photographs Harriet loved most were those with her brother in them. Edie had taken most of them, but they were so hard to look at. They'd been removed from the album and were kept separately on a shelf in Edie's closet inside a heart-shaped chocolate box. When Harriet stumbled upon them when she was 8 or so, it was an archaeological find equivalent to the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb. Edie had no idea that Harriet had found the pictures and that they were one of the primary reasons Harriet spent so much time at her house. Harriet, equipped with flashlights, studied them while sitting in the back of Edie's musty-smelling closet behind the skirts of Edie's Sunday dresses. Sometimes she slipped the box inside her Barbie traveling case and carried it out to Edie's tool shed, where Edie, glad to have Harriet out of her hair, allowed her to play undisturbed. Several times she had carried the photographs home overnight. Once, after their mother had gone to bed, she had shown them to Allison. Look, she said, that's our brother. I don't know. I've never read this book. It's supposedly a classic. Allison, An expression of something very like fear dawning on her face, stared at the open box which Harriet had placed on her lap. I mean, let's be honest, the House of Seven Gables is no Victor Hugo either. I don't want to, said Allison, and jammed the lid on the box and shoved it back at Harriet. The snapshots were in color, faded Polaroids with pinked edges, sticky and torn where they'd been pulled from the album. They were smeared with fingerprints as if someone had handled them a lot. Some of the photographs had black catalog numbers stamped on the backs because they had been used in the police investigation, and these had the most fingerprints of all. It's called The Little Motherfucking Friend by Donna Tartt. And let's be honest, too, since we're being honest here. Morrissey isn't exactly fucking Beethoven. I mean, he's not even Tchaikovsky. He's like a mentally addled Tchaikovsky with a lisp. Harriet never tired of looking at them. The washes were too blue, unearthly, and the colors had become even stranger and more tremulous with age. The dreamlit world they provided her let's read that for the fourth fucking time. The dreamlit world they provided her a glimpse of was magical. All right. Self-contained, irretrievable. There was Robin napping with his orange kitten. Hey, there you go. You got a cat. Weenie clattering around on Tribulation's grand column porch, sputtering with laughter, shouting in the camera, blowing bubbles with a saucer of soap and a spool. Ah, there he is. What's up, brovs? Steven. Right. There he was, serious in striped pajamas and his Cub Scout uniform. Knees thrown back, pleased with himself. Here he was, much smaller, dressed for a kindergarten play, The Gingerbread Man, in which he had portrayed a greedy crow. The costume he'd worn was famous. Libby had spent weeks making it. A black leotard worn with orange stockings, sewn from wrist to armpit and from armpit to top of thigh, with wings of feathered black velvet. Over his nose was tied a cone of orange cardboard. 4, a beak. How many more pages? There's only 1.5 more pages before the fucking section ends. It was a beautiful costume that Robin had worn it for 2 Halloweens running, as had his sisters, and all these years later, Charlotte still got calls from neighborhood mothers begging to borrow it for their children. Edie had snapped a whole roll of film the night of the play, various shots of Robin running exhilarated throughout the house, arms flapping, wings billowed behind him, a stray feather or two drifting to the vast threadbare carpet. Black wing flung around the neck of shy Libby, the blushing seamstress, with his little friends Alex, a baker in white coat and cap, and Bad Pemberton, the gingerbread man himself, his small face dark with rage at the indignity of his costume. Robin again, impatient, wriggling, held still by his kneeling mother as she tried to dash a comb through his hair. The playful young woman in the picture was undeniably Harriet's mother, but a mother she had never known, airy, charming, sparkling with life. The picture enchanted Harriet more than anything. She wanted to slip out of the world she knew into the cool blue-wash clarity where her brother was alive and the beautiful house still stood and everyone was always happy. Robin and Edie in the great gloomy parlor, the two of them on their hands and knees playing a board game. She couldn't tell what, some game with bright counters and a colored wheel that spun. There they were again. Robin with his back to the camera tossing Edie a fat red ball, and Edie rolling her eyes comically as she dove to catch it. There he was blowing out the candles in his birthday cake, 9 candles, the last birthday he would ever see, with Edie and Allison leaning over his shoulder to help him, smiling faces ablaze in the dark, a delirium of Christmases, pine boughs, and tinsel, presents spilling from beneath the tree, the sideboard twinkling with cut glass punch bowl, with crystal dishes of candy and oranges and sugar-dusted cakes on silver platters, The fireplace seraphim garlanded with holly, and everybody laughing on live TV, minus the live TV part, with holly and everybody laughing with the chandelier blazing in the high mirrors. In the background on the holiday table, Harriet could just make out the famous Christmas dishes, wreathed with a pattern of scarlet ribbon, jingling sleigh bells chased in gold leaf. They'd been shattered in the move. The movers had packed them badly, and nothing remained of them now but a couple of saucers and a gravy boat. But there they all were in the photograph, heavenly, glorious, a complete set. Yeah, on live TV. This is like John Updike. No, I won't say it. I won't say it. I will laugh on live TV when a certain place closes down in the near future. Harriet herself had been born before Christmas in the middle of a snowstorm that was the biggest on record in Mississippi. There was a picture of this snowfall in the heart-shaped box, Tribulation's alley of oaks bright with ice and bounce, Adelaide's long-dead terrier, dashing down the snow-covered walk mad with excitement. Towards his mattress, the photographer caught forever in mid-bark, his tiny legs a blur, kicking a froth of snow behind him, in the moment of glorious anticipation before he reached his beloved. In the distance, the front door of Tribulation was thrown open, and Robin, his timid sister Allison, clinging to his waist, was waving joyously at the viewer. He was waving at Adelaide, who had snapped the picture, and at Edie, who was helping his mother out of the car, and at his baby sister Harriet, whom he had never seen before and who was being brought home from the hospital for the first time on this snowy, bright Christmas Eve. Oblornoff? What is Oblornoff? Is that like Max Headroom? Maxi Pad Headroom. Harriet had seen snow only twice, but all her life she knew that she had been born in it. Every Christmas Eve, smaller, sadder Christmases now gathered around a gas heater in Libby's stuffy little low-ceilinged house, drinking eggnog. Libby and Tat and Adelaide told the same story, the story of how they'd packed into Edie's car and driven over to the hospital in Vicksburg to bring Harriet home in the snow. Isn't Vicksburg in Mississippi? You were the best Christmas present we ever had, they said. Robin was so excited. The night before we went to get you, he could hardly sleep, but he kept your grandmother awake until 4 a.m. And the first time he saw you, when he brought you inside, he was quiet for a minute, and then he said, Mother, you must have picked out the prettiest baby they had. Harriet was such a good baby, said Harriet's mother wistfully, seated by the heater, clasping her knees. Like Robin's birthday and the anniversary of his death, Christmas was especially hard for her, and everyone knew it. Was I good? Yes, you were, darling. It was true. Harriet had never cried or given anyone a moment of trouble before she had learned how to talk. Oblom novel by Ivan Goncharov. If that's his name, why is it lowercase? Harriet's favorite picture in the heart-shaped box, which she studied by flashlight again and again, was of her and Robin and Allison in the parlor of Tribulation. Beside the Christmas tree, it was the only picture, so far as she knew, of the three of them together. It was the only picture of herself which had been taken in her family's old house. It communicated no sense whatever of the many dooms which were about to fall. The old judge would be gone in a month. Tribulation would be lost forever, and Robin would die in the spring, but of course nobody had known that then. It was Christmas. There was a new baby in the house. Everybody was happy and thought they would be happy forever. In the photograph, Allison, grave in her white nightgown, stood barefoot beside Robin, who was holding baby Harriet, his expression a mixture of excitement and bewilderment, as if Harriet was a fancy toy he wasn't quite sure how to handle. The Christmas tree sparkled beside them. Peeking sweetly from the corner of the photograph were Robin's cat Weenie and inquisitive Bounce, like the beasts come to witness the miracle in the stables. Above the scene, the marble seraphim smiled. The light in the photograph was fractured, sentimental, incandescent, with disaster. Even Bounce, the terrier, would be dead by the next Christmas.
Meow.
That's your little friend, bruv. Oblomov is the dude's name in the story. He's cool. Goncharov is a Russian classical writer. He really only had one famous book, Oblomov. I like Candide by Voltaire, too. Why? How about Famous American Negroes? Do you like that book? I've got to say, 44 pages in, and I still don't understand the point of the modern novel. It's pretty good writing, but I mean, what's it really mean? Incandescent with disaster. Someone actually wrote that line. Is that what she said? The last words? Yeah. How much longer is this chapter? Little chapter. All right, so that's chapter 2. The Black Bed. Chapter 2 is what's... please turn. One page only, you fucker. I can't read it. I'll fucking break the spine if I have to see that page number. It's not even on there. So 57, so we got 12 more pages before the dead cat might show up. I was reading some anarchist stuff. Fluff. Think so. That's not good writing, in my opinion. All right. Tell me what good writing is besides Obla jerk off. Goncharov. Doesn't he sound like a fucking real name? Goncharov. Is he related to Sergei Gonchar? Well, the pumpkin beer was good. Fill up your holes, your holies. JFK, the dead witnesses. Candide by Voltaire was funny and classical. Funny like a clown? Yeah, bravo. It was one of my last pumpkins by Southern Tier. I'm back up to 2 beers a week now. Since my fucking cramping issues seem to have gone. Goncharov. You really, I mean, you're really going to give me pronunciation lessons when you won't even capitalize his name? Start capitalizing or you're going to hell. This ain't no fucking joke. Kind of like that. Look at that. I mean, I have 5 copies of this fucking putrid novel. I'll be honest with you, the main reason why I have 5 copies of this book, yeah, it's no fucking joke. The reason, someone asked me, why do you have like 10 copies? Some books I have 10 copies because, well, for the same reason. So no one else can have them. This book, I'm keeping it away from people who love Donna Tartt. I will get every fucking copy. I bought it. I buy everything. I'll buy your fucking mother. I'm 100 there. I'll buy everything. Except for a car that has fucking sturdy ball joints. I'll never buy that. Yay, the fucking glare's gone.
I love you.
Great thing about my pirated internet is I only get 1 hour at a time. So, did you buy a Corolla? Corolla what? Adam? You'll buy. I'll buy the fucking Universal Soldier, buddy, and send him to your house. What I wish I could do is buy the Red Hot Chili Peppers back catalog and fucking ban it from existence. No. But I do have a copy of that motherfucker nearby somewhere that has a pretty funny note in it. Where is that son bitch? Oh no. Where did I put that thing? The Confederacy of Dunces. Toyota Genius. The hell's Toyota Genius? Buy a Toyota? Every time I hear a fucking terrible song on the radio, it's inevitably always the Red Hot Chili fuckers. Where did I put that fucking book? Nick Cave don't know, buddy. What about Hootie and the Blowfish? Fuck that guy. Fuck him. Fuck Bone Thugs and Harmony. Fuck Drake. Fuck that one bitch. What's her name? That real popular one who sings like a fucking dynamited fish's asshole. Hootie and the Blowfish are fucking rubbish. Wolf Alice. Now that's a quality band. Wolf Alice, bro. Wolf Alice. Wolf Alice. Is that like Lettuce? I think he said his name isn't actually Hootie. He's a liar too. Isn't he a country singer now? What's that bitch's name? You broke me first. What's her name? I hate her guts. Yeah, Darius motherfucker. You don't want to, I mean, what an awful singer. Butt rock. What the fuck does that mean? Dred Zeppelin's quality. I don't know what this fucking butt rock's about, but I must have missed that fucking age. Hey, where's the butt rock? It's when someone sings like that, like it comes from the butt. It's more like a Vedder jaw than a fucking butt rock. Yeah, that's Vedder jaw. I mean, Eddie Vedder's literally the worst singer that's ever existed. Well, besides that one fucking guy. What's that guy's name who sang with Nirvana, not the new Nirvana, but for the thing. Who's that fucking guy with those big holes in his ear or big earrings and neck tattoos? That's funny. What are you fucking... Hey, I'm going to Pam's house. I've told you 3 times now, use fucking capitals or get out. I don't need your bullshit here with this fucking lowercase shit like your E. Cummings. Even though E. Cummings only did it in poetry. Don't come here fucking using that lowercase. Lower the bass. Well, you don't have any bass in your voice because you're listening to Morrissey. But lower that fucking case to capitalization. No, it doesn't. I have a fucking Android. And I've got 30 fucking black spots on on the thing, and sometimes I have to type the same letter 6 times to get it to work. The weird thing is people think they're like little trolls. Like some guy earlier, he's like, hey, this you should learn how to read cursive. And I'm like, listen, you fucking asshole. I'm 783 years old. I was around when cursive was invented. He's got 30 androids and 10,000 cyborgs. Bigorgs. Bisorgs. For one thing, this diary is not interesting at all. I'm just reading it as an effort. That band was funny too, cursive. Here's the thing. I listen to music like once a week. I don't give a fuck about music. Music is basically Prozac nowadays. For mentally addled people. I mean, I didn't say I found it. I fucking bought it. Just like I'm going to buy everything. I will buy it all. What does this say? What the fuck does that say? J. Triplemeyer? Triplemeyer? What bullshit is this? No, I haven't. You really think I'm going to read Dostoevsky? Why? I told you I buy these books so other fuckers can't read them. I'll be honest with you. I have at least 21 copies of Annie's Ghost. You think this is a fucking joke? Donna? The fuck is Donna? Donna Tartt? Don't you ever talk about Donna Tartt. I'll grant you one thing. Donna Tartt is hot. Besides that, I mean, she could write good, but she writes nothingness. I wish she was my sister. I would fondle her. But she's not. How's that weird? You called her my sister. I just said she was hot. I don't have a sister. You're fucking typing in lowercase despite my proclamation to do otherwise. You called her my sister because you're in some fucking manga fantasy land where the theme song is by Morrissey. The best part is all these little effeminate bros are just like, I love Morrissey, and that he turns out to be a right-wing anti-socialist. That's the fucking funniest part. I mean, these mental midgets have gone so stupid that a fucking vegan gay guy, crooner, a vegan gay crooner turned against them. I mean, how dumb do you have to get to alienate that guy? And the funny thing is, all the celebrities that came out speaking against such things are always the ones when they have their so-called revolutions who are offed first. Yeah, you Clydesdale kick them, but you don't kick them to the curb. You kick them into the fucking abyss. We aren't talking about this Nietzschean abyss, which echoes back. This is one that goes on forever. Like The Hollows of Laughter, Junkie by William S. Burroughs. That's not a book. It's mental masturbation, which has been propped up by the likes of the fucking half-witted intelligentsia to make you think that you're reading something important, which means absolutely nothing. Yeah. What's that tell you? I mean, he probably was the progenitor of AIDS. I mean, why wouldn't he predict AIDS? He was fucking a forebearer to the movement. I mean, who knows how many boys him and Allen Ginsberg fucking befouled overseas. They're fucking repulsive. Remember, people were crying when Allen Ginsberg died. I was like, yeah, that's sad that a fucking guy who was openly admitting raping 7-year-old boys overseas is fucking lost. What a loss that was to humanity. When you say that to these liberals, they're like,
What? But he wrote such great stuff.
I mean, if you think Allen Ginsberg is great, you probably think Walt Whitman is great. Fukakio?
Hey, I was reading D.H. Lawrence the other day and I felt really fucking happy.
This transmission will end automatically in 7 minutes. So you better get in all your grand guignol statements. Before I head up to Krogie's. Postmodernism. Modernism. Even my book, my thrift store, which I get the greatest amount of books from, has been cuckolded by this one fucking douche who he goes and asks this one guy who must be his bro. He probably gives him $20 a week. And he goes in the back and grabs baskets full of books. It's disgusting. Which is okay. Foucault. I have several of his books. I'll never read them. Really should be reading some of these whatchamacallit books. Conspiracy books. Harp. What books? Yeah, the ones he fucking stole. I don't care. He's got a scanner. He doesn't know anything about books. Let him have them. Let him sell them to fucking inbreds online. If you can't wait 17 years to find a book at a thrift store, you're a fucking piece of shit. The only book I regret selling was Arne Lang's what's his name? Arne Lean, Lein, telling what's your card, and it was about telling your fortune with playing cards. Yeah, I found it was an all-time classic story when I was driving with that fucking bearded prick, and I said, "Hey, stop!" He's like, "Why?" You're just driving down some fucking road heading out of Ann Arbor. And I said, "Pull over, motherfucker. I just saw ham on rye on the side of the road." And he goes, "What are you talking about?" A sandwich? I was like, no. It was Bukowski's ham on rye sitting on the side of the road. And he's like, you're stupid. I'm not going back. I said, go back, motherfucker. I'm jumping out of this car. Sure enough, he went back. I got that bastard, and I sold it on eBay. Yeah, I did say, stop the car. You fucking bearded prick. Stop the car. And it was ham on rye. He's like, how could you tell? I was like, I've fucking seen the cover 6,000 times. How couldn't I tell? That's why, if you're really looking for books, you need to memorize the spines of books. And that's how I found this one. I recognized it by this little white band, which The Secret History, I believe, has too. Yeah, he didn't know anything. I've seen those books 600,000 times. Just like I'm going to see the fucking inside of Kroger for the 700th time in about a half hour here. I got to get some milk. Otherwise, I will not be having cereal in the morning. Her intricate plotting, beautiful language, fascinating characters, and intellectual energy make her debut novel by far the most interesting work yet from her generation. Sink juice. Here's the thing. Here's the fucking thing. Look at this fucking... See, I think this part is the best part of the book. Some accidental scratch. Probably from some fucking mental midget throwing it into the basket at the thrift store. It's my guess. Not that this book's worth a lot, but I could always go find Donna Tartt. You know what I should do? If she ever comes to Detroit, I'm going to her reading, and I'm going to bring a fucking 10 books. All 10 of the books of hers that I own, even though she only wrote 3. I have at least 10 copies. Do I? No. Maybe I only have 9 copies. 4 of one, 4 of this one, and 1 of her more expensive one. That's right, bruv. Going to Kroger's, bruv? Hello, bruvs. No, this guy's done. He ain't going no Krogs. I got to go to Krogs. Got no choice. I also got to go get a fucking lease car soon because my goddamn tire's going to fall off again, I can tell. It's doing the squeakies. I don't know why. My name is Donna Tartt. No, the other one happened in the middle of June. June 10th, buddy. Although I'll tell you this, on Valentine's Day, I was leaving the job site, and I look outside, and I saw a big clump of snow, and I go, that looks like a fucking cat. And then next thing I know, out behind my car walks a black cat, and I'm like, this goddamn is coming again. The familiars are after me. They know. He's telling me this is the side it's going to happen on. Black cat's predicting it. Or he's trying to save me. I always see him come out from under the pine tree. And look, there's the chat disconnected. See, it always happens. What's it right now? 59 minutes and 25 seconds. Look at my battery's almost dead too. Motherfucker. What we got? We got 1 hour and 8 seconds left, bro. He could be the cold. I keep seeing Fanacat. He's still around. He just comes up and goes. I'm like, bro, I can't help you. I'm listening to Morrissey right now. Oh, whoa! Does this say I'm live again? No, that's just my phone. You dumb fucker. At least the black blob moved from the bottom of my phone, so now I can see at least the bottom line of the text that appear on the screen. Before it was blocked, so I'd have to wait till it was up top, but now it's moved. I created live TV, buddy. I should start doing a newscast. Wild supernaturalism. Hey, I'm some dude. And the sad part is, half these fucking dudes, they claim they're truckers. I know they're not motherfucking truckers. They're size 14 women who are stalking me. Not truckers. Not motherfucking truckers. What time is it? 8 o'clock. Krogi closes at 10. I think I have to go to the fucking Cherry Hill one because the goddamn one on Michigan Ave, there's always some fucking bum just sits there and begs for money. I'm like, I don't have any money, buddy. You say chicken chili? The fuck does that say, chicken? Give him that deer chili. I should just bring up every time I go up there, I should just bring up a pot of deer chili. Here you go, buddy. I brought a crock pot full of deer chili. You want it? He'd be like, I ain't that shit, bro. Fuck that shit. What you talking about, bitch? Ain't no motherfucking chicken chili. Mm-mm-mm. Ah! I wonder what my fucking phone level's at. You gonna be on later, bruv? I'll be broadcasting later at like 11 or something. Possibly, maybe. I should type a novel on here while I'm fucking just sitting on live television. Brilliant thing is now I reached 800 fucking subscribers today. One day I'll have 800 million. Then I'm just going to start buying warehouses. I always said I'll fucking make 1 million videos if I have to, just to get 1 million views. This ain't no fucking joke. This is the real fucking deal, bruv. $900 million. That's a fucking tall ask. I forgot about that. The other day I finally read this. I thought you took this. I thought you took this shit and you fucking sprayed it. I sprayed a cat with pepper spray, but it just says you're supposed to put it on like a cloth. Yeah, I got this. I'm just like, what kind of sick motherfucker in the 70s just goes up to a cat and goes and blasts him with a face full of chemicals? But I finally read the thing and it says you gotta fucking put it on a cloth and then leave it in a place where you don't want the cat. I thought you just a fucking pepper sprayed his ass. Hey, kitty. Oh, shit. When I read that, I was like, God damn, I guess people weren't that evil. Look at this little guy. Did you ever spray him in the face with some repellent? Yeah. So these were nice people. They told you just put it on a cloth and then set it in a place where you don't want kitty. Spray a small cloth or paper towel until damp. Tape, pin, or lay on surface from which cat is to be repelled. Look at this fucking chair. You just stick it on the chair. I thought you blasted the cat right in the face. Repeat application daily until cat's habit is broken. It is helpful to supplement use of cat away by scolding. Hey, motherfucker, this is my chair. This is my reading chair. This is where I read Donna Tartt, motherfucker. You sit there again, you're gonna get blasted. I guarantee there were just fucking hillbillies buying this shit and just blasting cats in the face. This little guy's just like, what I do, bro? Fucking little guy. That's why he looks so mentally ill with those crusty whiskers. Hey, my profile. Just a little guy with whiskers, buddy. I will be leaking like a sieve. I will be leaking like a sieve. What's this say? Money back guarantee. If not satisfied, when used as directed, return empty container to Whitmire for full refund. Look at that fucking chair. They should have a thing that just says no blasting the cat in the face. There's no way somebody who's buying this bought it just to fucking put it on a chair. Put it on a little towel. What'd you think of the book, bruv? Fucking Pap Blue Ribbon. The little friend. I should read the Meowmorphoses, quite frankly. How many more pages there are in this fucking book? Jesus Christ. A 5-year diary, bro. All right, bros, that's all.